right, let's rock. We're back after a bit of a hiatus because we've been going bush.
Yeah, we went offline for a while, but it was good.
That's why we do this.
Yeah.
What are we chatting about today?
Okay, so today we are chatting about our hike that we did last weekend in Jasper National Park. It's called the Skyline Trail.
Yeah.
Pretty famous one, or like in the area, it's one of the most popular multi-day hikes to do. Mm-hmm. And you have to book, don't you?
We do. Something we're great at.
Yeah. So because we travel like week to week, basically it's very difficult for us to book anything in advance. And these hikes, like the camping, because you camp, so you have to book the campsites. There's only so many.
To give you an example, how many campsites? Like an average one?
8?
Yeah, I saw between 8 to 10.
8 to 10 tent pad sites at each campsite. And there's multiple along the trail. But of course there's like a few that are very popular because they're like perfect distances and whatever. Anyway, we looked to try and book and all booked out going the way that everyone goes. Yeah. Like there's a way to do this trail because it's from point A to point B. It's not like there and back. So you have to, you start at a different place to where you end. Yeah. And everyone does it from, what way is it? North to south or south to north? I don't know. We got really confused with this, didn't we? It was hard to get our head around. Yeah. Anyway, but there's one way you can do it and there's less elevation, so it's much easier to do. And we decided like 2 days out that we were going to go to Jasper.
Yeah. And for reference, we were informed by locals and more experienced hikers that this is the kind of hike that gets, think like a music festival, right? Tickets get released like months in advance, like maybe
January,
6 to 7
February.
months. January, February is what we're talking. We were booking this 2 days out.
Yeah, in July.
In July.
Which is like peak.
On the whim.
So July and August are like peak hiking months and usually fully booked out.
Would have been gone.
And it was. I mean, it was booked out, but then the optimist in me and creative me went, I'll just check anyway. And sure enough, I was like, wait, can we just do it in reverse? And so I looked at the availability in reverse and I was like, oh my God, the 2 perfect campsites were available if we did the trail in reverse.
But there's a catch.
Yeah, but that meant it was going to be way harder, way steeper, and not like we were the only ones on our days that we set off doing it in reverse.
Yeah, the only ones,
Which was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh shit, can we do this?
Even though we both had a last decade or so of stepping up and progressing from more beginner to intermediate hikes. We've done overnights, we've done camping together, we've done multi-days. You've done 3 points. Sorry, what's it called?
3 capes.
3 capes, thank you. Machu Picchu for me, a 4-day, 3-night was probably the step up. But I think we're a bit rusty. The cobwebs.
I'd never done one like this long and hectic with a pack. Because 3 capes we didn't have to carry our
Machu Picchu we had porters as well. Light day packs. Porters did it. So we had,
and it's a whole different ballgame carrying a 16-kilo pack. Isn't it?
Just for range, for anyone who's wondering, this is it. Like, if you're 15 kilos upwards in the hiking world, it's like, what are you doing?
I know, but
10 to 15, aim for that.
Yeah, but we haven't got that.
We're not the elite.
We're not doing it enough yet.
Hyper titanium, carbon fiber, everything.
No. And I had this dream when we were like, before we left Australia that we would do heaps of hiking and like, because it's world class and it's going to be there in summer in the Rockies. Like, we'll do heaps of it. This is our first one.
First one, and
first overnight one, and we took up like a whole freaking, I would say 1 whole suitcase worth of overnight camping gear.
Yeah, whole suitcase of ours combined.
We've got 4 suitcases between, or 4 bags, should I say, between us. Yeah. One of those would be dedicated to all of our hiking and camping gear. Yeah, easily. So it wasn't a light decision to bring all of that.
Yeah, and I realise that right now. And we weighed it up and we said, is the trade-off of having all of our gear with us outweighed by being able to go on a hike easily and not have to hire it all locally and source it all locally versus the holding cost of having to carry it with you and have the excess. What is your answer right now?
After doing this hike, so worth it.
Okay, there we go. Good. I'm glad.
Yeah. I wasn't going to come all this way and not freaking do one, but I know.
Yeah.
I know.
If we hadn't done it, if we hadn't squeezed that in.
I think we'll do maybe a couple more. I'm hopeful.
Well, hope is what got us that booking on a very stressed Saturday evening when Maddie was trying to figure it all out.
And I was like, can we do it? Because Dan had a project that he had to wrap.
Had to get it done on that Sunday because I was going to go offline for 3 days.
Yeah.
And my client needed the first version of it by end of day Sunday at the latest.
And then we also had to be like the day we would be finishing the hike, we had to be in Golden, which was like a 4-hour drive from the hike. So that like really put the pressure on for us to be like, right, we can't F up basically.
Yeah.
And we have to get up early on that last day and we have to be like back at midday. We have to do those 12 kilometers. Like
pressure makes diamonds, baby.
Yeah. And we did it.
We absolutely did.
Yeah. No, it was like so rewarding, even though it was one of the hardest things I've probably done in a long time.
For sure. It was the most, probably the biggest delta between my comfort zone and my discomfort zone for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, we do little small things every now and then that'll be like, oh, a bit uncomfortable, this is new. But that was a really like a mental, physical, emotional, hit on all fronts. It was a bit of an assault.
Yeah. So to give you a quick basic rundown of the Skyline Trail, it's 44 kilometers, but we ended up doing 50 kilometers because we had some
navigational oversights.
Yeah. That's okay. 2,236 meters of elevation. Usually people do it in 3 days, 2 nights, but I met someone on the trail who said that their group of friends did it in a whole day.
Hungover.
Yeah, wild.
Probably not carrying much, but
no pack,
basically nothing to get through.
That's a lot.
Oh, handicap.
Because we did 30 kilometers in Garibaldi in one day, and we were spent.
Our feet we were gone. And we were hydrating and snacking and relatively fit. So,
yeah, I suppose that was a lot of snow though.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, I think it's all gone.
Fair enough. Well, to add to, I think what made it, a little bit more treacherous or testing isn't necessarily the one day. Like we're talking about, this group that did a hungover or when we did a Lake Garibaldi Lake, but it's actually the compounding fatigue or the lag that kicks in the second day. So day one, full of energy, optimistic, 14 Ks, I think it was, ballpark, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
14 Ks, feeling good, like a bit of an incline, but kind of we got there. And it was very interesting to see that kind of that swing and probably the, depending on how much I'm going to censor this, oh fuck, moments that we had in day 2, where it's like you're doing an 18K walk, but it's off the exhaustion of the day before, you're carrying a pack, and then it's all kind of caught up with you. And I think that for me was where that was for me the switch between this isn't just a one-day banger. There's something more to this, and I haven't done something like this in a long time. I don't know how you felt or what you thought about when you woke up on day 2 to give an idea, like what was your mindset in terms of like...
I was excited because I knew day 2 was like the epic day for views.
Yeah,
so I was pretty excited. Yeah. Not gonna lie. I wasn't really worried. But then like after the view, so to give you context, you do a lot of incline and then you get onto this ridge and it's just the most incredible views of all of the Rocky Mountains. And another reason why this hike was so special was because we had the most perfect weather. Like you could not get better. Clear for days, bluebird day, every single day. It was warm. We were in t-shirts.
Breeze.
Yeah, so it was just
kept the temp perfect.
And everyone who was like, when we were leaving the trail, everyone was saying, "Oh, you've had beautiful weather, haven't you?" And we were like, "Yep,
we know it."
But then once you get up to the ridge, you get these wonderful views. And then for us, we had to go over the notch, and that was like everyone had been like warning us about it. We were passing, being like, "Oh, be really careful." And like I'd read. It was quite hectic still because there was snow that we had to pass. So I was a bit apprehensive about passing the notch, I would say, on day 2.
Yeah.
And then after we did that, we'll come back to the notch and how crazy it was. But after the notch, that was when the hurt locker kicked in. I think because the views had kind of weren't as good.
The euphoria.
It was still there. And you kind of just knew that you just had to get to camp.
Yeah.
And it went for freaking ever.
By ever, to give you a gauge, we were moving at a pace of probably about like 3 to 4 kilometers an hour. The day before, when we were probably higher energy and we weren't doing as much of an incline and going up a mountain. So I had just...
No, we were doing incline on the first day.
We were doing an incline, but I don't think it was like the mountain ascent. Like I thought by the time we really slowed down at the start of the second day once we started going up, which was fine. But I just had naively extrapolated our pace from day 1 over onto day 2 and just thought, well, if we've been walking for this number of hours, we probably covered this number of kilometers, right? That was my very loose kind of like velocity or speedometer. Terribly wrong. Got to the notch, got to the point where like views had just peaked, and we peaked, had just going to go up this treacherous part that we're about to go into, and had seen a sign that it indicated just how much ground we'd covered.
Yeah,
and
we're only halfway. I did the math,
we weren't even halfway at that point. No, that's the thing. We weren't even halfway.
Yeah.
In my calcs, I thought we were halfway at that point.
Yeah.
So we were like maybe somewhere between a quarter and a third of the way through. And we were just about to go through probably the most, I've been on the brink of, not death, but, dance with death in cliffs and edges and things I've been to in my life. And what we did at this point was probably, near that when we walked through that little notch, and also had the panic of going, we are behind.
Yeah.
We need to get moving.
Dan had literally just said to me, like, in this voice that was like really freaking serious, shit, we need to move.
We need to move.
And that put me off so bad because I was like feeling like I had to go quickly or like we had to speed up. But then the notch was like super treacherous and I was like, I can't. I need to ignore his comment. I'm not going fast, but it was not didn't put me in a good mindset. That's
and I hadn't, it's funny because I saw the snow going over, but I hadn't seen the exact notch at that point. And hindsight is now that if I would have seen that, I would have not said, I can easily.
Like after the notch, sure. Like, you know.
Around the slate.
Yeah. But we'd had so many people warn us. I was getting really
Can you paint
worried.
a visual for everyone who's either listening or rereading what the notch is?
Oh, it's like, so it's the peak. So you're at top elevation of the hike. And you essentially have to go, because most people go up it. So it's like this really steep elevation, but we had to go down it. So it was like really slippery, like really steep, and it was snow. So you're like walking across snow, which like you just feel, and we didn't have poles, so we just felt like we could slip at any moment and we'd just like tumble to our death.
Heavier packs, which are just going to
crouch down with my one hand on the snow. It's gone numb because it's frozen. I'm just like, I had to like stop every like couple of minutes and just be like, defrost my hand, but then try and stay calm, and you're like shaking and like your muscles are tired with a pack on. Oh, it was pretty hectic.
Wild.
But we made it across and I could take a deep breath. And then we got to like slide down this slate
slider,
which everyone said that was really hard when they were coming up, but we found that easy going down.
Because at least if you were kind of leaning back and relatively, and we're small, we have low center of gravity. If you're watching the video, then we could kind of like lean into the mountain as long as you're going back and just like let gravity kind of do a little bit of work for you.
Yeah.
It's not to say it's perfect. You got to look after your ankles and wear good hiking boots, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the takeaways may have actually been, I never usually take hiking poles. That's the one day, hike a few times that I've done in my entire life where maybe a hiking pole with snow conditions or very terrain.
Definitely.
Yeah, just having one and strapping on the side of your hiking bag.
Yeah. Instead of those freaking stools, bring a hiking bag. A hiking pole, sorry.
That's all good.
Yeah.
So there we go. The pace is on. The herd locker commenced. And what was the mental battle you had when we were kind of reaching that 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock? And even though it was downhill and we were moving quickly, it still felt like we just weren't
your feet
ground.
were aching. So like every step kind of hurt.
Yeah.
And you just like, I got into like this, like thoughts were going through my head of like, I'm not going to make it. Like, what happens if we don't make it? Like, are we just going to have to pitch the tent up here in the wilderness, not at a campsite, and have to worry about bears all night, like, because we can't put our food in the food lockers. Like, that went through my mind.
I'm glad you didn't share all those thoughts as they happened, and you kept some of those contained. These are new to me right now, but it definitely came across my mind. I think everyone's. I don't know if it's a takeaway you took from
and then something else that came through my mind was like, I'm tired. This is like high risk for injury. Like at any moment I could roll my ankle or like fall and like, break a leg and like, oh my God, like when I have to get airlifted out of here, like all these thoughts were starting to creep in. But then you were listening to an audiobook and I said to you, does it help? And you were like, yes. So then I put an audiobook in.
100%. Powers through.
And it was a really positive, it was like such a good book for the right time.
Yeah.
And it was like all about the mental battle within. It's called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, I think.
Yep, you got it.
And a very like spiritual book, I guess. But listening to it whilst doing that hike in the hurt locker was like pretty powerful. 100%. And it put me into a better mindset. I was like in a positive mindset about life and like just how lucky I was to be here living it. Like, you know, even if there was a chapter on death, which was so ironic because we just uncanny. Like thought about death with crossing the notch.
It's contemplating death.
Yeah. And like that chapter was like, it just timed so perfectly, and it made me think about death and how, you know, it was a reminder of like, I am living my life right now. Even if I did die, like I'm literally overseas with my partner, living the most amazing life, doing something I love out in nature, you know, hiking, you know, pushing myself to my boundaries. Sure, maybe it caused my death, but like I think that's quite a good way to go.
100%.
You know what I mean?
The phrase is everyone dies, but not everyone lives.
Yeah.
And I think going out in a way, doing what you're doing. Yeah. What else what else could you want?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like otherwise you died not living
doing something I love with someone I love. Like
that's it.
Not that, you know. But it just made me reflect on that. Not that was going to happen,
but also
it was really powerful because it goes, like I am living and like I want to keep doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. But to extrapolate, it's kind of like, because I've had to, I think, really like not befriend death, but I think a lot of people avoid it and it makes them a lot of uncomfortable because they have to face a lot of truths about themselves or realizations that maybe they're living an unfulfilled life or they're not living up to their potential when they contemplate on it. And the more I think about it, the more I have appreciation for every present moment that I'm consciously put myself into, going, this could be the last time I ever do this. But I'm bloody glad I'm doing this because this is my life. And I made a conscious decision to be here and to do this. And I love it. And bloody heck, I hope people are at my funeral or my eulogy being like, he went out doing it his way. That to me is cool.
Yeah.
It's going to happen to me when I'm 80 or in 18 months or in 800 years, whatever. But it's like, that to me is freaking cool.
Yeah. What was going through your mind in the Hurt Locker?
Yeah, well, I flipped the switch as Maddie mentioned. I was listening to some classic Bob Proctor in one of the big greats of the motivational esoteric wealth and prosperity field, and I think I've had those thoughts come before when I've done other hikes in the past, and a little bit like what Michael shares in The Untethered Soul, like you are not your thoughts. And there's one of those moments where I can really zero in on that because it's so easy to distract myself. If I don't like my thoughts right now, or you listening to this or watching this, you don't like your thoughts, we have like these instant digital remedies for it. You can go on a newsfeed or you can watch something or eat something and just like get the dopamine that kind of distracts those thoughts and you don't like them. But when you're there, you're acutely aware, like as you shared, like, you know, you don't have cell service and you don't have all contact, you kind of don't have all these distractions. You can usually just like pacify your thoughts with. So then you sit there and you have all these thoughts run, the monkey mind's going crazy. Yeah. It's just tiring. And then you kind of go there and you sit there objectively and take a step back and you go, this is wild. Yeah. I'm thinking some like weird, like deathly, like morbid, bizarre, like dark stuff that I wouldn't normally think. And then you just have that disassociation and you go, that's not me. That's just what happens when you let the brain go wild and you don't have a rein over it and you don't have that conscious control over it. And I think that's a moment I really like to be like, I can't face anything else. I can't distract it. I just have to be able to,
you have to sit with it.
You have to be able to sit with it or separate it and remove yourself. And I go, cool, I choose not to give power to those thoughts. Yeah. You know, where your attention goes, energy flows. And I'm like, I don't give into that. I'm going to be positive with my partner. I'm going to eat a snack. I'm going to hydrate. And then I'm going to listen to some Bob Proctor and just like do things that consciously put me in a better frequency. And then I got in a frequency, you got in a frequency, and then we just like soldiers, like little foot soldiers, operators, left, right, left, just like we're chugging, jumped over some water crossings, nearly fell in, and just like the cage just clocked away.
Yeah, we got through, but it was, and then like once we finally got to the camp,
bruh.
Oh my God, I had a little teary because
there was a bit of a breakdown, and that's fair.
I was just so exhausted, but it wasn't a breakdown. It was actually like tears of like overwhelm, I think. Like I was just so glad that we made it safely. Like there was a bit of a shitty situation with
little aside.
We got in late, of course, because we were doing it the opposite ways. We were the last people to arrive at camp. Trip. And they all had an easy, short day. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And all the campsites had been taken. Mm-hmm. I was not going to lie, it was a bit of a jab in the wound because we were just so tired, so hungry.
We just
wanted a spot. We definitely had booked a spot, so it was a bit dog that someone had taken the spot when they didn't.
Yeah, someone had obviously misunderstood the booking system. It's split, let's say, multiple tents over multiple sites instead of one site for multiple tents is what we suspect.
Anyway, I was really annoyed. So I asked people, I was like, we've got a booking, but all the 10 sites booked. Are you sure you only have taken up the right amount? And no one owned up to it. But anyway, we were so over it. We were like, we just found a spot somewhere near another 10 and hiked up. And then after that, I felt like I could just and I had a little teary. Yeah. It was a lot of emotions.
Adrenaline dropped off.
Yeah. And then it's amazing though. After we sat down, rested and ate, I felt so much better. It is amazing what just
99% of your world is mental.
Yeah.
It's what are you perceiving with what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it also is a testament to how, when you have put your body on the line and your brain is under stress or survival mode and then you restore it. Yeah. How insanely different your moods can be.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
Loved also be on I think sharing that experience. It's one thing if you did that whole thing, let's say you're a superstar and you can do it solo and you can smash it out. But then to be able to look in the eye of someone, whether it's a friend or your partner or someone you love or know or have a close bond and have gone through quote unquote suffering, voluntary suffering, why would you subject yourself to 17 kilos on the back, nearly dying, whatever? It's you got to, I think that's what the human experience is. And then you've got to look at each other at the end of the day. You're safe, you're set up, you've had food.
You've achieved something really hard
real in the tangible world, not just digital, but offline.
Yeah.
And you can look at each other in the eyes.
And you build core memories together.
We built memories. We can always look back at that.
Yeah.
And we can always say we did that. And we have that integrity with ourselves. There's something really special about those shared experiences.
Yeah. And then finishing the hike on the last day was such a high because, you just feel so proud that you did it. And only you know how tough that was for you and how you pushed yourself. And then it was so nice because we finished the beautiful Milan Lake and we got to go for a swim in the glacier lake. It was just cause it was really hot. It was so nice actually finishing there. So I'm a pro to doing it in reverse. Yeah.
I'm all for that because
and there was a restaurant there. We could have a good feed straight after the hike.
Ran into an Aussie that I had mutual friends with.
Oh yeah.
Got to grab an ice cream afterwards.
It was so good.
If you went the other way, the way that everyone else does it, you just get dropped off in this tiny little, maybe 200 meter square car park, just off the road.
Yeah.
No restaurant or fresh water or feeling of bliss and achievement or yay. So. Yeah, I'm all for it. If you're doing the Skyline Trail, just think of Dan and Mads and flip it in reverse. Start on hard. Yeah. That's what we do. Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
Something else.
Experience?
Yeah, it was a really big reminder for me is how grateful I am to have a body, physical body that can do this because honestly, there's probably a really small portion of people in the world that can do that. Yeah. The rest just can't. They can't hack it. They've got injuries. They have, disabilities or chronic stuff, or they're not fit enough, they're too obese or there's so many different things that I think would limit people to do that. So I feel very privileged and grateful that I can do that and experience that part of the world that can only be accessed on foot.
Yeah.
And I think to have the fitness to do it.
Yeah. And to extend to everyone, regardless of wherever you're at with your physical conditions and your potential limitations you may have, I think everybody is capable knowing what their upper limit is, no matter where you sit, what advantages or disadvantages you have anyway. Unlocking that level of breakdown and breakthrough and, euphoria that you've mentioned at the end of day 2, I think is available to anyone if you make the decision to say, what's a challenge
for you,
for me. Yeah. So it's not saying you have to go hike. Because I'm very aware that I could bust a hip and need 2 replacements or do my ACLs and I could never do that again in 5 years. So it's kind of one thing is right now, know that the state that you're in, your body goes into, is the word entropy? It means that your muscles and everything it decays and gets, we're not getting any younger, right? I'd like to think I want to keep hiking for as long as I can because we saw people 10 times our age or 40 years older than us doing it.
Which was so inspiring.
But I know that that's not guaranteed for me. Yeah. And so right now in this window, it's even though we chose a cooked hike, in reverse, no one does, and we did it on an absolute whim, I can look at that and say, I have no regret about that because I don't think I'll be able to do that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And if there's something I hopefully can impart from that as well. It's like, yeah, like use that window. It's why I did a crazy bodybuilding comp a while ago, and you'll probably do a, you know, marathon, triathlon at some point in the near future. Because yeah, we've got to be grateful for what we have. And that's one of those few examples in day-to-day life when we can actually be like, damn, that's what I'm capable of. You know, that's wild.
You can do hard things.
50 kilometers for the 6K teacher.
It's not even the 50K. It was just the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like carrying the pack, the mozzies, the...
Unreal.
Anyway, no, let's not go there. Mozzies were real bad. Dan got absolutely attacked.
Oh, come on.
Insert clip below.
Unreal. Mum has affirmed that it's been a thing for my life. So while I'm getting like half the campsite on my back, Maddie's like 1 meter next to me and is having like 2 hanging around her.
It was so funny though, just like this swarm above your head.
All right. We can stop the circus on my Tom
We'll finish it there. But anyway, that's our quick
recap.
/ long recap of the Skyline Trail in Jasper.
Yeah.
Would highly recommend if you are in this part of the world, if you can get your hands on a ticket.
You can organise it.
And it's in your wheelhouse. Do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Or, you know, if you need a baby step towards it, that's cool. Start with the day hikes.
Yeah, do a day hike.
Start with small ones. Bring a friend. Lock them in. Wherever you are in the world, you can always find one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll love you and leave you.
Yeah. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.